Hi, my name is Fred Friedman. I'm the Chief Public Defender in Northeastern Minnesota, also a professor at the University of Minnesota. I don't know anything more than anybody else in this room. I'm just 335 miles up the road. And yes, I do have a license to practice law in this state. And I'm on the bay. Superior is 3 miles away. So I think I know the similarities and the differences between here and between where I live and here. Besides the fact you all have a professional football team and we do not.
Only difference.
Only difference. You do.
Don't say us. I don't care about that.
Despite wearing Packer green. Right?
No, this is money green.
Money green. So my goal, we all have goals that are fair. Here's my selfish goal. I want to keep my clients I want to keep all my clients out of jail. I certainly want to keep my clients that are pre-trial out of jail. Why? They're presumed innocent. Everybody knows when you send people to jail, it does damage. A lot of times they don't recover. There's dangerous people in jail. People go to jail, learn from more experienced criminals how to commit crimes. It's matriculation, in every bad sense of the word. And what do we tell everybody? We teach the worst possible lesson to young offenders, innocent and guilty. And what do we tell them? If you have money, you get out pre-trial. Not if you're guilty, not if you're innocent. If you have money, you get out. And if you think I'm making it up, there are 103 American blues songs with the following lyric: "Go my bail." 103. So it is ingrained in American culture, and certainly in American culture of folks of color. All right? So let's assume that, and keep in mind, the best predictor of who's going to go to prison, other than prior record, other than previous record, the second best predictor is if you're in, you stay in. If you're out, you stay out. And criminal justice practitioners in this room know I'm speaking the truth. Now, from the other point of view, I can only think of 2 moral reasons to keep pretrial detainees in jail. One, a judge, in his or her best judgment, does not think they're going to show for future hearings, right? Or 2, they are likely to offend between now and the conclusion of the case. I cannot think of any other moral reasons other than that. Won't show or going to offend. So notice I didn't say re-offend because they're presumed innocent. For sure, there are some immoral reasons to keep people in. Like, I don't like them. Or I want to pressure them into pleading guilty. Or I want to make money from my buddies down the street who are bail bondsmen. And yes, I know Wisconsin doesn't have bail bondsmen, I understand.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Right.
It's coming. But are coming back. But many of America, many places in America, have bail bondsmen. And they do things, well, you all know that. Some things that are moral, some things that are immoral. So, our job, we tried to get together on a task force because we were persuaded that people of color, especially Native Americans, were in jail more often and subject to higher bail. One thing I really want to sell you on, as interesting as anecdotal stories are, as interesting as storytelling it won't make the day, it won't change people's minds, it won't move the ball, all right? Justice to be, Louis Brandeis said that in 1904, you've got to develop social statistics, and you have to sell people on that to get people on your side. So rather than talking about that horrible story, you got to produce the statistics. Who's in, who's out, and they're not that easy to get. So of course we developed them, and it made the point. So our goal on our task force is as follows: try to reduce the disadvantage of poverty and who's in and who's out pre-trial. Secondly, try to reduce the disadvantage of geography as to who's in and who's out. My county is longer than here to Eau Claire, or here to the other side of Gary, Indiana. All right? And lawyers in our room? Any lawyers in here? When my lawyers on the Iron Range have to see somebody that's locked up, they have to drive further than here to Milwaukee to see their clients, all right? So these are all, so there's many economic reasons why this is wrong, as well as just constitutional reasons. So we got together a committee of the people that count, not the designees, not the delegates down the road, but people who can make a difference, and with the support of the American Bar Association, we got together the statistics and our goal, and we are making a difference, reducing the number of people that are being held pre-trial. Now, some of this will do it because it's right. Some other people will do it, as Cynthia said, out of money. Pardon me, I don't care. I want my clients home, I want them working, I want them going to school, I want them developing reasons why they shouldn't get locked up, and I want them working with my defenders on their cases, something that's very difficult to do from a jail an hour and a half from where their lawyer and their mom and their dad and their children and their spouse lives. So that's our goal, and we're getting everybody together. It isn't just the defense community. We're getting everybody together and trying to see the advantages of this. Now, the only disadvantage, and then I'll be quiet, is this. If somebody's out and they commit a crime, and of course, occasionally that's going to happen. I'm not so naive to think it's not going to happen. Or occasionally people don't show up. But, you know, we have plenty of people out of bail that commit crime. We got plenty of people out of bail that don't show up. I'm just saying money should not be the determining factor, and neither should geography. I want to end the following expression. Your Honor, make him post bail. He lives too far from here. If he's in the jurisdiction, he's in the jurisdiction. If he's around, he's around. And it impacts rural people, people of color, especially Native Americans the most. And we're teaching every negative lesson. If you want to get out, if you want somebody to go your bail, have money. So that's what we're doing.
Donna, I'm actually going to ask you a few questions because what's interesting about our Racial Justice Improvement Project is we do have these 4 task forces, and we did have requirements of who the stakeholders on that task force would be. And one of those members would be a community representative. And that's something very unique to our project, to require someone from the community who represents that jurisdiction to sit at the table with the rest of the stakeholders. Donna, you happen to be the community representative for the Minnesota Task Force. So first, I'd just like to ask you, what background in the criminal justice system do you feel that you bring to the table with the community representative hat?
Well, not so much the criminal justice system, but I've been working for racial justice for over 20 years. As Salma said in her introduction, I'm a member of the Fond du Lac Band of Ojibwe. And although Native American people are 3% of the population of St. Louis County, they're overrepresented in almost every area. My interactions with the criminal justice community have been on 4 distinct projects. We're 4 years into creating a civilian review board for police accountability. And that was prompted by a young Native man that was murdered, killed in the hands of the police. That was the last time he was seen alive. And we started forming a civilian review board. So I've been involved with that for 4 years. There's people in the criminal justice system on that task force. The other one that I've been working on for 3 years now is the Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative. And that is to reduce the number of youth of color in our detention facilities. The same kind of reasons that Fred talked about. Juvenile detention is terrible a terrible place to be for all youth, but for youth of color, even more so. As a social worker, I see